Chapter 65. Change your thoughts, change your life. 65th verse. The ancient ones were simple hearted and blended with the common people. They did not shine forth. They did not rule with cleverness, so the nation was blessed. When they think that they know the answers, people are difficult to guide. When they know that they do not know, people can find their own way. Not using cunning to govern a country is good fortune for the country. The simplest pattern is the clearest. Content with an ordinary life, you can show all people the way back to their own true nature. Living by staying simple hearted. If you are currently in the important position of ruling a country, I encourage you to take this wisdom especially to heart. If you're not, I suggest studying this passage of the Tao Te Ching from the perspective of your personal life, which most likely involves leading others. Supervising or parenting shouldn't mean imposing bureaucratic rules or impressing others with your supposed intelligence and superiority. A truly influential person isn't cunning, doesn't shine forth, rule with cleverness, or instill fear in those he or she is designated to oversee. As Lao Tzu explains, when they know they do not know, people can find their own way. In other words, the effective leader guides others to their own nature. The realization you're invited to consider here is that your job is to help others know that they don't know. If they believe that they do have knowledge, then they'll never find their way back to the Tao nature. That's because they're relying on ego input, which tells them that their true essence is their identification with the physical or material world. One who lives according to the Tao knows that ego is a false master, drawing people away from knowing their true nature. Implement the teachings of this verse by refusing to convey superiority or intellectual ingenuity. Instead, show others how to live from the Tao perspective by being willing to admit that you don't know what's best for them, nor do you even know with any degree of certainty how your own life should go. Let other people know that you're willing to ask for guidance. Show them that you're not in charge, either of them or of what happens to you. Allow them to see a man or a woman who's humble, lives peacefully in the cycles of life, and stays simple-hearted. As you change the way you look at leadership, you'll see that individuals who are willing to surrender their egos enjoy a connection to their Tao energy and become simple-hearted leaders. Their only task is to help everyone in their sphere of influence realize that they also do not know. Lao Tzu seems to smile wryly as he informs you of this wondrous paradox. Blend in with those whom you feel compelled to supervise by trying on these new ways of thinking and being. First, be willing to proudly say to those in your charge, "I don't know." This phrase is a symbol of strength rather than weakness, so use it freely. When you teach others to do the same, they'll begin to allow their highest selves to be guided by the Great Way. Keep in mind that nature never forces anything to grow, but is silently and invisibly ever present. Do the same to the best of your ability by not forcing yourself and your ideas on anyone, with sensible precautions for those too young or too immature to take on adult responsibilities. The simple truth is that neither we nor anyone else really know what's ideal for ourselves or others. There's a silent destiny always at work. There are fortunes as well as misfortunes in every life, independent of our particular opinions. Second, practice keeping your life simple and uncomplicated. Model this behavior for those you feel obliged to lead. Rather than analyzing a situation from every angle, trying to come up with the most viable solution, trust your first instinct and take the simplest and least problematic route. Don't pull bull over mouse turns. By the time you've discussed the many options available to you, the problem itself could have been long behind you had you simply disposed of those rodent droppings with a simple tissue and dumped them into the garbage. Here's some great advice for you, as well as the leaders of countries who are often so mired in bureaucratic red tape that they become paralyzed. Keep it simple. Do the now. In as many ways as possible, demonstrate your understanding of what Lao Tzu meant by asking leaders to be content with an ordinary life. Spend a day without the label of parent, supervisor, or boss, and put yourself on an equal footing with those who usually look to you for direction. Think of yourself as one of those you lead. In fact, pretend that you are him or her for a day. This will give you an awareness of how to put the down to work right away. I found that when I practice this with my children, they respond according to their own best and true nature. For example, when I simply say to my teenage daughter, I know that you're perfectly capable of being responsible and sensible while I'm out of town, and I love that about you. I remove the authoritarian parent label and treat her the way I'd want to be treated. When this becomes the norm, it's obvious that Lao Tzu is correct. The simplest pattern is the clearest.